In this video, we're going to cover the big question on almost everyone's mind. Will the cloud save my law firm money? Many people attempt to figure this out by calling various cloud providers, and the first question often asked is, what does it cost? While this may seem like the first logical question, it's like walking into an electronic superstore and asking, what do televisions cost? The answer to this question is anywhere between $200 to upwards of $5,000 or more. It makes more sense to narrow down aspects such as size, screen quality, features, and so on, and then compare prices within those metrics. In this video, we're going to show you real numbers based on real metrics that you can then take and apply to your law firm to understand if the quote-unquote cloud will in fact save you real dollars and cents. Without making you wait until the end of this video to see real numbers, I'm going to help you understand the question, will the cloud save you money, yes or no? Here's a chart that shows the total cost of ownership over a 3-year period. This column represents how many people are in your firm, ranging from a solo practitioner to a 75-person law office. Here we have 3 categories that represent 3 different routes you can do. The first is on-premise, which is the traditional on-premise server ownership that you're probably used to. The next is private cloud. This is the service that Uptime Practice delivers to law firms. And the last category is web applications, which means you're willing to abandon your traditional software and switch to an alternative product or products that are completely web or browser based. All the boxes that are in green represent the most cost-effective route. Boxes in light orange are in second place, and the boxes in red are in last place. At this point, you're probably wondering how we reach these numbers. I'm going to do a full breakdown of cost and show you exactly how this is calculated. After you see how this is calculated, you can download your own cost calculator from our website, which I will show at the end of this video. You'll want to stay to understand all of the factors so you understand how you fill out your cost calculator. First, it's important to know exactly what your goal is. You may be looking to make just one legal application accessible in the cloud. Other law firms may be looking to eliminate most or all of their on-premise servers and get out of the server ownership game. Others may want an all-inclusive package that includes support for their local computers, printers, scanners, and network equipment. There's no right or wrong answer here, and this is not a good, better, or best comparison. But you need to make sure you have options and you're not forced to buy something that you don't need or disrupt business relationships that you're happy with. In this particular case, we're going to consider an all-inclusive private cloud versus traditional on-premise servers versus web applications. So let's look at an example of a 15-person law office. They're open to all routes with a primary emphasis on saving money. They run a popular case management software. It could be Time Matters, Tabs 3, ProLaw, or so on. They run either QuickBooks or another application as their primary accounting system, or maybe it's for another purpose like payroll or a very specific trust account. They use the Microsoft Office suite and Adobe. They have about 1 terabyte of data on their file server, and they're in the market for, or they've already made a transition to a hosted email solution such as Office 365, for example. Coming back to here, if you're looking at this package as a possible private cloud solution, the average spend will range between around $120 to $160 per user per month. If we aim for the middle of that price range, it's approximately going to cost $139 per user per month, which comes out to a total of $2,085 a month. Also note, you may have an additional onboarding expense ranging between $4,000 to $5,000. The million-dollar question is this a good deal? Is this really saving money? Coming back to our chart for a 15-person law office, the answer is yes. It's actually saving a significant amount of money, in fact. So let's jump into specifics and show you how exactly these numbers are calculated. The first thing we're going to consider is the upfront expenditure. Again, we have our three categories: on-premise, private cloud, and web applications. Let's first consider the on-premise column, as it has the most going on. A good quality server can run anywhere from $3,500 to upwards of $8,000 if you're going Cadillac. Shooting for the middle, a decent server will run you just north of $5,000. With that, you will need a backup system, which incorporates both software and hardware, which could easily tack on another $2,000. You will also want a quality APC to protect all of this valuable equipment. That's around $1,500. The next factor is server licensing, which averages $950 per server. This is not per physical server, but per virtual server, which typically runs inside of one box. Traditionally, you will be running Active Directory, a file server, and a database server. You should be able to combine these roles into two servers, which is 950 times 2 and equals to the $1,900 that we see here. Next, your user licenses, also known as a CAL or Client Access License. This is required for each person who needs to access the server. These run for just a touch over $40 a person. With 15 people, that comes out to $840. Another expense is SQL licenses, which almost every premise-based case management system requires. You can pay for this by the processor core or by the user. Either way, it comes out to about the same, which is just north of $4,000, based on 15 times the average license cost per user of $209 per user. Finally, there's certainly going to be an implementation fee, as this is a lot of work to put this all together. With the going IT rate averaging around $150 an hour, you can count on approximately $5,000 of labor. This comes out to an estimated $20,900, give or take a few $1,000s in either direction. The next two columns are much more simplistic, as all of this is either included with private cloud or it's not applicable to the web application methodology. With private cloud, you will still have a labor fee, either due upfront, or the vendor may require a lengthy contract and bake this fee into the monthly expense over a period of time. With web applications, if you're considering a change, this will often involve a third-party consulting firm. Between onboarding, data migration, and training, this expense can wildly fluctuate. $7,500 is extremely light. Realistically, this could easily hit $20,000. But for now, we're going to go with the lighter number, as not to bloat these numbers and to be completely fair to each category. Keep these numbers in mind. Next, we're going to move on to the monthly expense. Again, we have our three categories in the same order: on-premise, private cloud, and web applications. This time, we will go line item by line item, as this category is the most meaningful to budget-minded law firms, which is almost everyone. The first line item is server maintenance. If you have a server, you will want to make sure it's properly maintained, monitored, secured, and audited on a routine basis. This is especially critical with the security threats we face today. The average cost for maintenance can range between $200 to $500 per server per month. Assuming you're running 2 to 3 virtual servers, we're looking at around $500 a month for maintenance and monitoring alone. Private cloud platforms will bake this into the overall monthly price, whereas web application models do not require a server in most cases. Next is user support. This will entail the support for each person's computer, managed antivirus, printer, scanner, and general network support. The average spend for this service is $49 per person per month. 49 times 15 equals our $735 monthly expense listed on both the on-premise and web application category. This expense is part of the all-inclusive private cloud spend already. Keep in mind that even if you can eliminate all of your servers, this cost will remain. In some cases, this cost may increase as computer management becomes increasingly difficult with no server to help automate management. Next, we have the offsite backup category. This is native to almost all cloud solutions, whereas on-premise servers need to be backed up nightly. This varies in price drastically. If you're looking at a full hog BDR solution, which is an acronym for Backup and Disaster Recovery, you could be looking at thousands per month. For the sake of this example, as not to bloat numbers, we're going to go with a simple, basic backup system, which typically charges between 25 to 75 cents per gig per month. So let's tack on $100 here. Up next is remote access. Again, this access is native to any cloud solution. If you have an on-premise option, you can get a dedicated terminal or Citrix server. This would add significant spend to the upfront and server maintenance columns. For the sake of this example, since we're considering a 15-user law office, chances are they're using RDP over VPN directly to their desktop, or more commonly, a go-to-my-PC or log-me-in type of solution. These solutions range between $30 to $40 per person per month, giving you an additional $450 fee on average. This type of solution comes with a host of headaches and problems, which we will not get into as we are simply here today to evaluate the raw numbers. For monthly software expenditure, this only applies to web applications, with the average cost sitting at around $89 per user per month. This would be the $13.35 a month you see here. For storage, most firms with on-premise servers are using their file server, which could be your S drive or T drive, for example. Additional spending here is not applicable in most cases. Private cloud includes this storage. For web applications, most find the document storage and/or management is inadequate with case management software itself. This leads them to seek out a OneDrive or Dropbox type solution. If you need something even more robust, you're looking along the lines of Lex Workplace or NetDocuments. Depending on what you select, the average cost is between $20 to $50 per user per month. Going with the low-end solution for $20 per user times 15, that comes out to the $300 a month you see here. Another common additional need when using web applications is the need for a QuickBooks Online type of product. This could cost around $35 per user per month. In a 15-person law firm, only around 3 people would need this access, so we're looking at 3 times 35, which is the $105 a month you see here. Lastly, we have Microsoft services, namely hosted email, and of course the Office suite, which consists of products such as Word, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, and so on. These products are almost always included with any private cloud solution, whereas with an on-premise model or web application model, you will pay for these a la carte. Both options average around $10 per user per month. This brings us back to our grand total for private cloud, which was $2,085 a month. The question was, is that really a good deal? If you look at the on-premise route, you're paying an identical amount, just in a much more fragmented fashion. On the other hand, web applications tend to yield the highest monthly spend of $27.75 a month. Most people are drawn into the $89 per user per month price tag, but they neglect to consider the other factors and expenses. Our last category, before we look at the grand total, is a couple of miscellaneous factors. Our first category is annual maintenance fees for your legal software. Starting with web applications, while the monthly price tag was high, you're not paying for annual maintenance contracts, which gives you the right to update the software that you own or obtain support. If you are putting traditional software on your own servers or a private cloud, you will still have these annual fees, which start at around $100 per user per year or more. Looking at this annually, and then over 3 years, you will have an additional $4,500 spend, which is only applicable for on-premise and private cloud. The last factor is what you're spending on computers for your users. starting with the on-premise category, when you buy computers for your staff, you need to buy a fairly robust machine as they need to accommodate the client-side legal software, Office, Adobe, and possibly more. When you move to web applications, the weight of the legal software is primarily on the web server. So you're just running browsers, Microsoft Office, Adobe, and maybe a couple of other miscellaneous programs. On average, law firms save around $500 for each new computer they buy. 500 times 15 over 3 years is a savings of $7,500, which you see here. Keep in mind these green numbers are positive. They represent savings, not expenses. Now with most private cloud solutions, it's even better, saving nearly $1,000 per computer. This is because private cloud can turn local computers into nothing more than basic access terminals. All the work and processing power that your legal software and miscellaneous applications require, such as Office, Adobe, WordPerfect, and more, are all running within a virtual environment. The end user is streaming the whole experience while their local computer is doing virtually nothing. So here we have 1,000 times 15, which is the $15,000 saving factor we have to consider when using private cloud. This brings us back to the grand total, with private cloud leading the race, by far coming in at $68,985 over a 3-year span. Web applications and on-premise are virtually identical, coming in at a rounded $100,000 each. What is just as important, if not more so, is the intangibles. These are the items that we cannot quantify mathematically, but they hold immense value. Each firm has to ask themselves, what is better mobility worth? Enhanced security, better reliability, having the option to scale up and down in users, having everything centralized, decreasing the liability sitting on your shoulders by holding data within your office, maintaining your robust software without making drastic compromises feature-wise just to be in the quote-unquote cloud, and lastly, having quality support services. These are consideration points that we can make an entire video on alone. Coming back to the point of the video, will the cloud save you money? Find yourself on the chart and get a general rule of thumb. These numbers can change based on various factors, including but not limited to what applications you're running, how much data you need hosted, and so on. If you would like to download the cost calculator and fill it out on your own, feel free to download it from this link, uptimepractice.com/calculator. If you need help or would like a private consultation, fill out a form and contact us directly. You can call us at 1-888-UPTIME2 or 878-4632, or fill out a form at uptimepractice.com/contact-us. Thank you for watching. We hope to hear from you soon.